What's up, guys? Welcome to Zach Milne Talks Live on a beautiful Wednesday night, as we like to do. It's an honor to have you guys here, as always. And if you're new and you're just joining the show, it's an honor to have you here as well. Welcome you all. So, how the show's going to go? We only got two topics for this show: the movie industry. It's in Thanksgiving and post Thanksgiving, I should say, and Christmas time. So the movie industry kind of slows down with the news a little bit. Not that there isn't news, but news worth talking about. And I found these two topics the most interesting this week. So these are the two that we're going to talk about. Chris Evans has been officially as official as you can get, besides an actual word from Marvel themselves saying it. He's coming back for Avengers. Not too surprising. We'll talk about why. But Avengers, Chris Evans' return. More surprising is what's going on with Sony and their Spider-Man-less universe that we all just love. Don't we all? Who's not looking forward to Kraven? Huh? Kraven comes out like tomorrow. And after these comments from Sony, how could you not be excited for that movie? We'll talk about that and more, as well as taking your live comments and questions. This will basically be a Q&A kind of night for sure. So with that said, I also want to shout out, we've got some people to shout out from last episode's Super Chat. If you guys are new here and you didn't know, we have a Super Chat guide for those sending in Super Chat questions. Those are not required to get your comment or question answered, but because a lot of the viewers also have channels of their own, we've come up with a Super Chat guide here. For $1.99 with your question, you can get a community post made at the end of the show linking to your channel. For $2.99, you get the community post as well as the link to your channel in the description below. And for $4.99 or more, you get the community post as well as the link in the description of this video and next episode's video, and a special video shout out at the beginning of the next episode, which I'm about to do right now for beloved channel members and friends. We've got Jay Pylon first, who sent in a super chat last episode. Dude, thank you so much for that. Check out Jay Pylon's channel. He does a variety of stuff, not just movies and TV, but also some collecting cards and some sports stuff. So if you like that, go check out Jay Pylon. Definitely. Thank you so much, man, for the super chat last episode, and go check him out, guys, as well as the Ace Avenue, who has been a very consistent super chat supporter and channel member. So I thank you very much, my friend, for that as well. The Ace Avenue, guys, he covers movies, he covers sports. He's very big into the Yankees, does a lot of live streams covering their games. So definitely go over to Ace if you enjoy that content as well. And thank you both to those two gentlemen for supporting the channel on the level that they did. I see a bunch of people in the chat already, so thank you so much. I also, That's Just Joe is in the chat saying, hey Zach, managed to stay up a little late to catch the top of your show. Thank you so much, man. I want to shout out That's Just Joe as well, because he sent in a super chat. I don't know what it is, conversion from UK, I believe it was, to Canadian dollars, but you sent in a super chat on Members Talk Live on Saturday, man, and I appreciate that so much. So That's Just Joe, guys. Check out That's Just Joe. He does movies. He does movie news. He covered the Sony universe being canceled as well. So definitely go check out That's Just Joe. Very underrated channel and a great lad, I must say so myself. You hear that? I'm using your language, mate. I don't even know if that's your language. I heard it on a movie. All right, guys. So with that said, we are going to get to all your comments and questions, because you guys have been here starting at 12:45 p.m. The laser was in here at 12:45 p.m. I appreciate it. You guys don't know how much it means to me when you guys are in here so early before the show starts. It means so much. I'm so humbled and honored by it. So thank you guys so much for that. With that said, guys, let's not waste any time, and let's just get into this first topic of the night. And that's going to be this. We kind of saw this coming. I mean, not all of us might have saw this coming, but when they announced Robert Downey Jr. on the stage in Comic-Con, was it? I can't remember what it was. When they brought him out on stage and said, here is your new Dr. Doom, you kind of had a sense, with the multiverse, with Secret Wars being the end game, so to speak, to what they're doing at Marvel right now, that was not going to be the end of the legacy characters, so to speak, continuing on in the MCU. And then just this past July, we had Chris Evans himself pop up in Deadpool and Wolverine, which I must say, when Chris Evans popped up in Deadpool and Wolverine, even though he wasn't Captain America, even though he was Johnny Storm, totally different character from a totally different set of franchise films, my heart fluttered. It was so nice to see him. It just felt like coming home. It was such a warm, welcoming feeling to see Chris Evans on the screen again. And I had a suspicion that was not going to be the last time that we saw him. And now it is official, guys, because Variety is reporting that Chris Evans has been added to Avengers Doomsday. So this comes to us from Variety. Here's what they had to say. It's looking like Chris Evans will return in Avengers Doomsday. The actor best known to Marvel fans for playing Steve Rogers, a.k.a. the Captain America in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is circling another MCU appearance in 2026 comic book epic. However, it's not clear who he'll be playing because, spoiler alert, at the end of 2019's Avengers Endgame, Cap had aged into an old man and passed the character's patriotic shield to Anthony Mackie's Sam Wilson. And this summer, Evans showed up in a brief scene-stealing role in the billion-dollar smash Deadpool and Wolverine as Johnny Storm, a.k.a. the Human Torch, his character from Fox's 2005 and 2007 Fantastic Four movies. Plot details with Doomsday have been kept under wraps, but Robert Downey Jr. is back to, not in his career-defining role as Iron Man, but as Dr. Victor Von Doom, the main villain for the Fantastic Four. Yada, yada, yada. We kind of already know all this already. So, Cap is back. Or is it Cap? Because I've seen some theories out there. And as this article says, it's not clear who exactly he'll be playing when he comes back. So what are the options? What are the options for Captain America's return? People have been saying Johnny Storm. I personally don't think Johnny Storm is on the table. Because spoiler alert for Deadpool and Wolverine, he kind of spilled his guts all over the floor once his skin got ripped off. Now, they could do another Johnny Storm, another Chris Evans, Johnny Storm coming through the portal, whatever. I don't know. We've been there, done that. We did the Johnny Storm. They already did that with Deadpool and Wolverine. Do you bring him back as a Captain America variant, which seems to be the prominent theory because we've got Iron Man, or Robert Downey Jr., I should say, coming back as Victor Von Doom. Some are already calling that a Tony Stark variant, even though Marvel themselves are saying that's not a Tony Stark variant. When you have the face of Tony Stark, when characters associate that face with Tony Stark, doesn't matter if you're the proper Victor Von Doom or not from another universe, you're going to be a Tony Stark variant in our minds. That's just how it works. That's how it's going to work. So the fact that we have beloved Iron Man now as a villain, are they going to do our beloved Cap, which Iron Man and Cap were kind of the souls of the MCU earlier on in its first three phases? Do you now do an evil Captain America with that? Do you now do a Hydra Captain America? For me, I'm not really interested in that. The Robert Downey Jr. as Victor Von Doom is already an idea where it's like, great, if you can execute that and not make it feel like a gimmick, that'll be fantastic. Robert Downey Jr. is a fantastic performer. I have no doubt that he can be a great Victor Von Doom. However, if you add another gimmick on top of the gimmick and have Captain America come in here as bad, played by Chris Evans once again, I don't know if you can do that. I don't know if you can roll the dice twice on that. So would it be kind of interesting, depending on how it's executed, of course, if Captain America came in here as a big bad? Maybe. Now, is he going to be Captain America proper? Maybe they go into the timeline, pull out a proper Captain America from an earlier time in the MCU. Maybe you get Chris Evans at the right age for when he would be Captain America. That one I could see being more of a possibility. The problem with that possibility of bringing Chris Evans back as Captain America from a time, let's say they pull him out of phase 2 or whatever, you run the risk of undermining Sam Wilson's Captain America, because you've already got an uphill battle getting the audience on board with Sam Wilson taking over the shield, being Captain America. I mean, you can't deny that. I know people in my life who they only liked Captain America, or they only went to Captain America for Chris Evans, whether to objectify him or not. That's why they liked Captain America, was the portrayal by Chris Evans and just being Chris Evans himself. Now you're calling a new character, not just a new character, a side character who you're putting into the lead, now you're calling him Captain America. He's got a lot to do to earn the audience's belief in him as Captain America. And if you bring Chris Evans back as the Captain America that we already know and love, you run the risk of people pushing Sam Wilson's Captain America once again to the side. If Marvel wants us to accept Sam Wilson as the new Captain America and build him up as the new Captain America, bringing back a Chris Evans as Captain America feels like they run the risk of undermining that. Then the third option, Old Man Cap. And without burying the lead, this is my favorite option, personally. Because at the end of Avengers Endgame, unlike Tony Stark, who was more than deceased, Captain America didn't go out deceased. Captain America lived on. He just aged, and now he's an old man. I think the idea of, once again, moving the MCU forward and seeing where Old Man Cap is now, maybe even just having Chris Evans in there as a little cameo or a little supporting character, not even in the action, that sounds more interesting to me. Now, I personally believe we're going to see Old Man Cap in Captain America Brave New World. I have nothing to back that up. I just think that it'd be a cool scene to have Sam Wilson go to Old Man Cap for support or for advice. Maybe you get that in Avengers Doomsday. Maybe our new group of Avengers, our new characters, trying to take down Victor Von Doom. They've been defeated. They're distraught. They need hope. They need someone to speak into their lives. And here comes Old Man Cap. To me, that's the idea I like the most, is to see Chris Evans, Old Man Cap, see where he is now, see how he is as Old Man Cap. That's more interesting to me than going back, just getting a younger version of Chris Evans, Captain America, throwing him in there, and now he's a part of the Avengers once again. Who knows how they're going to do this? All I know is that I'm not that shocked to hear that he's back. I'm happy he's back. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, in Deadpool & Wolverine, my heart fluttered. He's a very warm, welcoming feeling. That old familiar feeling of the MCU that I love, seeing Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans back on the screen, is going to give me that. I just hope the story doesn't get compromised by doing so. But what do you guys think of this? What do you guys think of Chris Evans finally returning? Or I guess he's kind of always been around. He was only in a movie in last July. So what do you think of Chris Evans' next appearance in the MCU? Are you excited? Do any of these theories get you excited? Do you have theories of your own? Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts and opinions about that, guys. And with that down, guys, let's move on and talk about this. Well, ding dong, you little munchkins. The witch is dead. The witch is dead. No one mourns the wicked, as they say in the new Wicked movie. Yes, so let's not bury the lead here. Sony has been trying to build a universe without Spider-Man, focusing on the Spider-Man villains. You may have heard of it. Madam Web, Morbius, Venom, and tomorrow, which, by the way, Sony, impeccable timing on this announcement, which it's not, Sony didn't even really announce this, but tomorrow, Kraven the Hunter comes out. Kraven the Hunter, who the director of the movie is pleading. He's he's almost begging for fans to give this movie a chance. He wants a trilogy. He's come out and said that if he gets to a third Kraven movie, he wants to adapt Kraven's Last Hunt. He wants us so badly to come into the theaters. The momentum on this movie has been nowhere near worse as just terrible. It's been absolutely terrible. It's projected to open to like $13 million. Now, on top of that, a new report comes out. A new report is out now. And this comes to us from the comicbookmovie.com. And they are saying that Sony is killing off its Spider-Man villain universe. Sony's Marvel spin-off films are done, but Spider-Man will continue. So here's what they say in this article here. Sony's line of Marvel films centered around the Spider-Man universe characters continue this week with the opening of Kraven the Hunter. But according to a new report, it'll also mark an ending of sorts. A detailed report claims that compounded stumbles of Morbius and Madam Web and a Venom trilogy of diminishing returns, even all those bungled plans from 2010's Amazing Spider-Man franchise, are making Sony press pause on its attempt to build a separate Marvel universe. Instead, it's being said that all of the efforts are now turning toward working with Marvel Studios to make Spider-Man 4 with Tom Holland. They've developed what they want to develop for now, a top talent agent was quoted as saying. It's really about the next Spider-Man film. The rap points to some ominous low early tracking and hype measures for Kraven the Hunter, as in there is no hype, as everything that Sony is concerned about. Kraven marks Sony's third Marvel-themed film released in 2024. Madam Web had a budget of 80 to 100 million and made just 100 million at the worldwide box office. Kraven the Last Dance cost 120 million and its box office haul was 472 million, was just over half of what the original film earned and less than the sequel film earned while releasing in the midst of the COVID pandemic. That cannot go understated. A movie released in the COVID pandemic when the theaters around the world weren't all fully opened to more had more box office than a movie released in 2024 right now, where the box office is thriving. That's insane. Kraven the Hunter cost a whopping $130 million, and unless some Christmas miracle takes place, it's looking like it could potentially be the biggest flop of all three of the Sony Spider-Man universe films released this year. Kraven the Hunter would have to earn over $300 million at the box office just for Sony to say that it earned a combined $1 billion from its 2024 Marvel movies. The fact that the studio could end the year not even being able to make that claim is a depressing indictment of the brand and may be the state of the superhero movie genre in general. I don't know about that. The biggest issue with the Sony Spider-Man spinoff seems to be the lack of quality control. The movies just aren't good, an insider was quoted as saying. Sometimes that lack of quality meets a movie no one asked for, which was the case of Madam Web. And that is a no-win scenario. It may be time for Sony to start cultivating different IP to launch new franchises. It's also noted in the wrap that Sony's not only focusing on Spider-Man 4, but the studio is still putting efforts on the other area of the brand that has managed to be a breakout success, the Spider-Verse. All right. So important thing to point out here that I think is being missed by a lot of people, because I've seen a lot of articles, I've seen a lot of YouTube videos being made about this. The Sony universe is dead. Sony is killing off their universe. They're not killing off their universe. They're pausing their universe. I read another report that said Sony said they're at least not going to put a new Spider-Man villain movie into production for at least the next 3 years. They're putting all of their focus, all of their energy into Spider-Man 4, into the Spider-Verse, or across beyond the Spider-Verse, and that noir series over at Amazon. Now, before we pop the champagne, before we start jumping up and down with glee, which I'm sure a lot of us are, I want to do something that not many people are doing. And I'm going to give props to Sony. I'm going to give props to Sony on this. Sony, as much as we like to poke fun, as much as we like to, as fans or the non-fans of these movies, like to roast and poke the Sony bear, this is a very smart move, and this is a very humbled move to make from Sony, because these Spider-Man villain movies, as much as they don't make much in the theaters, Sony doesn't really need to depend on these movies making much in the theaters. Their deal with Marvel, they've still owned the rights to Spider-Man. Spider-Man movies still make over $1 billion. They're not hurting by these movies. The brand is hurting by these movies. The Spider-Man brand under their name is hurting by these movies. But Sony could have continued on. Sony could have just lowered the budget. $50 million for an El Muerto movie or whatever it was going to be. Yeah, the box office keeps diminishing, but they don't really need to care about that because they've got so much else going on that's making them money. This is really just so they can keep the rights as close to the chest as possible, because Sony needs to make a Spider-Man movie every 5 years, or at least have one in production every 5 years in order to hold on to the rights for Spider-Man. So that's really all they were using these villains for. We gave Spider-Man to the MCU. We still got to make some more movies. So they tried doing these villain movies. And I give them props for trying. I wish that they had actually put effort into their movies, which was clear with Madam Web they are not, but they tried. And they also are recognizing now it's not working. It's not working. The fans don't like it. We're not turning out. Craven's looking to open disastrously. They could have been stubborn. They could have stuck their heels into the sand and said, we're going to keep going. We don't care. But props to them. They're stopping. They are listening to the fans. They are taking constructive criticism, and they're actually stopping these movies. Now, as someone who in no way, shape, or form was a fan of these movies, hallelujah! Woo! Yeah! All right! All right! Woo! Yeah! Oh, music to my ears! Music to my ears! Woo! This is great. This is really, 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 really great news. And it's not just great news because these movies were total garbage and I don't want to see them anymore. And I know I don't need to watch these. I go and watch them to be part of the conversation. And honestly, it's been fun. As much as I haven't liked those movies, it has given a lot of fun conversations and a lot of fun roasts within the community. So I'll forever be grateful to those movies for those moments. But just in the comic book movie genre realm, these movies weren't just hurting Spider-Man and Sony. They were hurting the comic book movie genre. We have had 3 of these movies this year. And I will say it. I will make the statement that this has been the worst comic book movie year since the big comic book boom back in 2012 or 2010, whenever you want to count it. This has been the worst year. Aside from Deadpool and Wolverine, which thank God for Deadpool and Wolverine single-handedly saved this year, this has been the worst year with Joker 2, with Venom 3, with Madam Web. Horrible. And it's nice. It's nice to know that at least for the next 3 years, 4 years, whenever they put a movie back in production, we don't have to worry about it. And I like that Sony's efforts are going to where Sony's efforts should be. The Spider-Man character. Focus on the Spider-Man character. Put all of your resources into that character. Whether it be Beyond the Spider-Verse, whether it be Spider-Man 4, like they are doing. This is what they should be doing. This is exactly what they should be doing. And they're doing it. They're actually putting a halt on these movies. Maybe they start back up again. Maybe people are right. Maybe this is the end and we never, ever see another one of these movies again. I'm not going to lie. I would not be heartbroken to hear that that was the case. But even if they start up again, even if they feel like they want to turn it around and try to restore this villain universe, they're stopping. They're actually stopping and putting their efforts into stuff that we actually want to see be good and successful. So, with that said, I will be seeing Craven this weekend. I will be dressed in black, as you do for a funeral. I bid this universe adieu. Whether I see you again or not, I really don't care. But you're gone. Woo! Yes! All right. All right, guys. What do you think of this? What do you guys think of Sony's universe officially, well, not ending, but at least going away? At least for a little bit. Comment down below. Let me know all your thoughts. Were you a fan of these movies? Because I'm over here. I'm popping the champagne. I'm so happy. And you could be devastated. And I'm sorry if you are. Director of Kraven the Hunter, but I don't think you're watching. But if you are, comment down below. Let me know about your devastation. And with that, guys, like I said, we only got those 2 topics, so we burned through those. So we're just going to take the rest of the night going into the chat, Q&A, live comments and questions. You can talk about what we talked about with Chris Evans, the Sonyverse. You can throw in whatever you want in there as long as it's appropriate, movie-wise and all that stuff. With that out of the way, we've got a super chat sent in by none other than the Ace Avenue beloved channel member and friend. Dude, thank you so much, as always, for this, man, for sending in a super chat. With Christmas a few weeks away, I want to know, what's your most memorable gift you've ever received? Ooh, that is always a very good question. Most memorable. I gotta sort through my memory. Does it have to be Christmas or does it have to be just in? I'm going to say that this is just in general because I can't decipher just Christmas. I think I got this for Christmas. I can't remember, but when I was in the 7th grade, there was a show shot in Canada, not too far away from where I am. It was in Burnaby. It was just by Vancouver. It was a show called Mr. Young, and it was not a great show, but I liked the show. I was young. I was like 12. And I really liked the show. And they were having like open casting calls for extras and background actors and stuff like that. So I actually got to go to the set and the show and be a background extra on the show, which was an amazing experience. And my mom, took the whole day off, came with me, stayed on set. We were there for like 10 hours or something like that, and she stayed the entire time just sitting to the side. She didn't have anything to do, but she was the one who took me there, and I needed parental supervision. So she came with me and we went, and it was just a total blast. I met some of the cast, I saw all the sets, I got to walk around. It was a true dream come true at that time for me when I was 12 years old. And my mom, being my mom, took a bunch of pictures and um she put them in a photo album for me, and she gave it to me. And I just remember that being a really sentimental moment for me and really special. And it was to me, it was something I really cared about, and my mom was showing me that she cared about it too, and it was special for her as well. So she gave me all those memories in a photo album. I still have it. And yeah, that's a very special one. Sentimental ones are the ones that are most special to me. So that's the one that popped into my mind for sure. What a beautiful question, Ace. I love that question. Thank you so much, man. All right, let's see here. We've got the laser. What's going on, buddy? We got Enviro Earth 2. What's going on, dude? He says, I just watched Venom 3 and it was fine. I'm glad you liked it, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I thought it was terrible. But hey, that's just me. That's just me. That's just one man's opinion. And it doesn't matter any more than yours. So I'm really glad you liked it, man. I'm sorry this universe is ending. Nathan Trana Movies, what's going on, buddy? Says, hi, Zach. My family is eating dinner for my brother's birthday today. Well, happy birthday to your brother, whose name I do not know. But what have you seen recently for the first time? I saw a lot of movies this past month, but The Departed is the best and standout. The Departed is great. What if I watched for the first time recently? I watched The Christmas Story no, that wasn't the first time. I watched Klaus for the first time, which, by the way, guys, I put out on the community post asking you guys what you thought was the best Christmas movies. I put it on my Instagram, my Facebook. I put it out. Oh, did I not put it on my I put it on my Facebook for sure, maybe not Instagram. But I got a bunch of responses. I compiled the most recurring ones, and I did a Christmas tier ranking a couple days back. So you can check that on the channel if you want. But yeah, I watched Klaus for the first time because that was submitted quite a bit. I've been watching a lot of TV I've been trying to catch up on. So I finished Cobra Kai Part 2. And I didn't finish, but I watched the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos. I got a review up on the channel for that as well. It's good. I don't love it so far, but I can see the potential. And what else have I watched? I watched Skeleton Crew. I'm all caught up on the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew. Better than I thought it would be. Much better than I thought it would be. All props and credit to John Watts and the team over there. It's much better than I thought it would be. And I think that might be it. Yeah, off the top of my head, that's all I can remember. But The Departed, fantastic movie, man. I'm glad you watched that for the first time. Nathan Jenner Movies says, also, if you finished Cobra Kai Season 6 Part 2, what are your thoughts, especially on the ending? Yeah, so I guess I won't go into like spoilery. It's been out for a while. I'll try to keep it as vague as possible. Yeah, I won't go into too deep into spoilers, but I will say with Part 1, I felt like they were retreading old water quite a bit. The drama was the same. They were re-sparking conflicts between characters because they had concluded those conflicts in Season 5, which was my fear going into Season 6. Was Season 5 felt very much like a finale to the entire series. So I was nervous about going into Season 6 for that reason, and those fears unfortunately kind of checked out because I do feel like they did a lot of recycled conflicts and did a lot of work to get those conflicts reignited. So Johnny and LaRusso were still going at it, the same old, same old. And then you got Tori and Sam were now in conflict again. It just felt like been there, done that. And it was really starting to feel tiresome. Whatever it was about part 2, maybe it was the change of location, being at the Saikai Taikai, finally introducing some new characters, which gave new conflicts. I thought part 2 was significantly better than Cobra Kai season 6 part 1. And I enjoyed it a lot more. I loved all the conflicts. It's got all the ridiculousness that I love about Cobra Kai. But in seasons 1 and 2, and even a little bit into 3, they were ridiculous, like karate ruled their lives, but there was still some realism in their world. The realism is gone. The realism is completely gone in this show, and I'm just kind of accepting it. I will give one little minor spoiler. When that guy comes out, the sensei whose dojo got eliminated from the tournament, and then he comes back and knocks the announcer out, I nearly fell out of my chair in laughter. And then you know what happens next? A big brawl breaks out. It was hysterical and so dumb, but in the way that Cobra Kai kind of can just get away with. They just have that charm. They have that special thing that allows them to do something like that I wouldn't necessarily accept in other shows. But I really enjoyed the entire part 2. I thought it was a lot better than part 1, and the ending did shock me. I was shocked. I won't give away what happens, but I was not expecting that character to go the way that he went. And I'm very curious to see what they plan on doing in part 3 and how they're going to wrap this entire series up now. Dakota Man Movies, what's going on? Dakota says, "Hey Zach, did you watch Skeleton Crew?" I did watch. I mentioned before I watched the first 3 episodes of Skeleton Crew, and it's better than I thought it would be. It definitely plays a bit younger, but it's very charming. It's very cute. I wasn't a huge fan of the suburban planet in of Star Wars. Like I know all planets look different, but that just felt a little bit too much like home. Like they even had like cereal basically. So I wasn't a big fan of that, but I liked the kids. Sometimes their acting's a little bit, but they're kids, so I'm not going to harsh it too harshly. I love the pirate story that's kind of going on. There's a mystery going on with their planet that I was not expecting when I turned on the series. And I'm actually really invested in it to see how they're going to explain it, what it is, how it's going to conclude. And Jude Law is now in the show. He came in he came in episode 3. And he's been a very welcome presence, and he's been he's elevated the show for me since he entered in I guess it was just last night that he entered in the last episode. So yeah, Skeleton Crew. I'll eat my words. I was not excited for Skeleton Crew. I didn't think it looked great, but you know what? This is a Star Wars show that's actually starting to win me over. I hope they can stick the landing. Because that's been Star Wars' biggest problem is they fumble like their second half of the show and then they fumble the landing. But after not enjoying, Book of Boba Fett, being disappointed by Obi-Wan, not that into Ahsoka, Acolyte, oh man, recovering from the trauma that was Acolyte, this has been a very welcome surprise from Star Wars. The Codeman Movies says, ready for episode 3 of Creature Commandos tomorrow. I might catch it tomorrow. I might have to wait a couple days before I can sit down and watch that, because that's not something I can watch with my wife. Is not into that at all. I'm curious. I thought the first 2 episodes of Creature Commandos, it felt very much like a replica of the Suicide Squad, just with less interesting characters. I didn't mind the characters. Like Rick Flag Sr. is fine. I'm kind of into the Bride. They've kind of put Rick Flag Sr. and the Bride at the forefront of the series so far. They're definitely the leads. The robot that talks about Nazis, we don't know much about him. And the fish girl, she's just starting to kind of get her own personality, or whatever you want to call it. But yeah, I'm curious to see what episode 3. I imagine I predict that in the same way that the Bride's flashback episode was told in episode 2, I feel like we're going to get another flashback episode for one of the characters in episode 3. So I'll check it out eventually. I'm liking the show. Don't get me wrong. I like it. I think it's good. But yeah, I'm not loving it so far though. Dakota Man Movies says, what year do you think will be better for movies, 2025 or 26? Oh my gosh, dude. You want to jump ahead 2 years? Let's just focus on 2025. I don't even know what comes out in 2026. 2025 is going to be great. I know that 2026 is like huge for animation. You got Toy Story 5 coming out in that year. You've got what's that other big one that comes out? Shrek 5 comes out in 2026. The Avengers comes out in 2026. That right there, if you're talking box office, that's going to be pretty big for the box office. I can't remember off the top of my head. 2026 might be the bigger year of movies. Doesn't necessarily mean it'll be better. I'll say 2026 for now, but 2025 next year is looking fantastic. Dakota Man Movie is watching Craven at all. I'll be seeing it Saturday. I believe I'm going to see it on Saturday because my wife is heading out of town on Saturday. So actually, probably right after I'm done with Members Talk Live on Saturday, I'll probably go to the theater and check it out then. I can't make it tomorrow and I can't do Friday. And I'm not disappointed about it, to be honest. Dakota Man Movie says watching the new Lord of the Rings. The War of Rohinham. Is that what it's called? I don't know. I don't want to write it off. I'll say that. I don't want to write it off, but it doesn't look like my thing. Anime is not really my thing. Not that I won't watch it because it's anime, but I don't know. There's something about it. There's a disconnect for me. Whenever I watch the trailer, I'm like, it doesn't look bad, but I'm just not excited for it. So yeah, I don't know. I'll have to I'll check it out eventually. I don't know if I'm going to see it in theaters though. I really don't. Envireth 2 says, I assume that Spider-Man Noir will be the final Sony live-action project. Weird. No, that won't be the final live-action project. That's not even really, like... That's happening at Amazon and MGM. So that's not even really, like, a part of what they were doing with Venom and Madam Web and all that stuff. No, completely different thing. They'll be doing more live-action. For sure they will. Envireth 2 says, can you tell me what Sony's plan honestly was? Can you tell me? Maybe they assumed it would be successful, a Spider-Man-less universe, or maybe they hoped to get Spider-Man back but couldn't. Well, they do have Spider-Man. I don't know how the contract works with Marvel. There's got to be something in there where they're not allowed to use another live-action Spider-Man as long as a live-action Spider-Man exists in the MCU, because I don't know why they haven't brought Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield into their own live-action movie yet. I don't know why they haven't casted a new live-action Spider-Man. I honestly believe the plan was, let's make these villain movies so that we can keep the rights, because if we miss like, you know, the MCU is packed. The MCU has constantly got projects going on. If they can't get us a Spider-Man movie within 5 years, if they screw us over, so to speak, they will get Spider-Man back from us. So let's put out these villain movies. They're still Spider-Man adjacent. They count as putting a Spider-Man movie into production. So let's just crank these out as much as we can so that we don't miss that 5-year window. Because as soon, and you know, as much as Marvel's playing nice, and as much as Sony and Marvel have a deal going on right now, you know that Marvel's just over there in the corner. They're waiting for Sony to miss that 5-year window. They're waiting for, you know, Sony to wake up and what oh no, it's been 6 years, and then they get the rights to Spider-Man back. So they're waiting for that, and Sony will never let that happen. They will hold on to that thing for dear life. Collect Movie Man, what's going on, buddy? Beloved channel member as well. Thank you so much, man. Always appreciate it. Saying it's Sunday night at 10 p.m. The reason it's so late is because 2 people who are joining are 3-hour time difference from me. It'll be 7 p.m. for them. Did I miss something? It's Sunday night at 10, and the reason it's so... I'm sorry, man. I'm not quite sure what we're talking about. I apologize, man. And I just looked up the Rotten Tomatoes score. Kraven the Hunter is at 16% on Rotten Tomatoes. Woo! It went up from 9. I saw earlier that it was at 9%. 16%. Look at that. Going out strong, this universe. Click Movement says, I don't know if you got my messages on Instagram. I sent you a message about the Dune TV show. There are 2 different sex scenes. One is about a minute long, and the other one is like 2 minutes. Yeah, sorry, man. I meant to message you back about that. I've had a couple people. I had you... A couple other people message me, and I've had people in my personal life tell me that they don't think Dune Prophecy is going to be for me. So I haven't even bothered watching Dune Prophecy. And I appreciate that, man. I really do appreciate you reaching out and respecting me and looking out for me in that way, man. I appreciate that. And Collect Movement says, but I've been enjoying the show. The last episode is next week. The last episode of Dune Prophecy is next week? I feel like that just started. Is that what we're talking about? The next episode of Doom Prophecy? That doesn't sound right. Collective Movement says, also, I wanted to ask, how do I upgrade my channel member so I can become I wanted to upgrade it to $6.99. You should be able to just click on the tier. I've never joined it myself personally, but you should be able to just go into, I have it in the description below. I have our member options in the description below. So you should be able, I don't know what it looks like if there's a subscribe plus symbol on underneath the video, or if it still says join underneath the video. I think they were changing that to subscribe plus, I heard recently, but it should say join or subscribe plus under the video, and you should be able to get the tiers, and you should be able to click on one of the tiers, and it will be the third tier that you want to click on to join. And we would love to have you join us on Members Talk Live, man, and it would be an honor and a pleasure. So thank you so much for even asking and wanting to join that tier. By the way, guys, Zach Milne Talks Live is not the only show we do live on the channel. We've got Members Talk Live that we do every Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, and we've recently moved that over to the main channel live. So definitely keep a lookout for that on your weekend. The Laser, one of two, says Toy Story questions because I glaze over Toy Story. Anyways, I was watching Toy Story 3, and Woody, before leaving Bonnie's house, said he's going to Sunnyside, which is how he heard about Lotso's story. What would have happened if Woody never told Bonnie's toys he was from the Sunnyside? Because the Sunnyside toys said that the new toys don't last them a week. So if Woody never came back for Buzz or Jessie, what do you think would have happened? They would have just been tortured till the end of time. Really. I mean, that's my best bet. Those kids were ruthless. Michael 111591, what's going on, buddy? Thanks for joining, my friend. And also Collective Movement saying hi to Michael. Enviro 2. If I have to watch one animated movie, which should I choose? Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, Incredibles 2, Sonic 2, or Mario Brothers? Well, if you're asking me personally, which I like all those movies, by the way, Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. I think Puss in Boots: The Last Wish is the most fun, the funniest of that bunch. And also, I think it's going to surprise you. Because when I saw the trailer for Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, and I didn't care that much about Puss in Boots from 2011, didn't really care that much about that one. But when I saw the trailer for Last Wish, I thought it was a Netflix TV show, and I had no interest whatsoever in checking it out. And then the reviews started to come out. They were unbelievably good. And then I checked out the movie myself, and it is a delightful, pleasant surprise. Like, absolutely delightful, pleasant surprise. So I would put on Puss in Boots: The Last Wish if it was me personally. And since you're asking me, that is my suggestion. Enviro2 says, does your wife like Tom Hardy? All my friends that are girls seem to like him. I've never asked. I don't think she'd know who that is. If I'm being honest, I don't think she'd know who Tom Hardy was if I asked her. The Laser says, what's good, Collective Movie Man? Toxic Gamer 331, Olo Zach. Well, Olo Toxic Gamer, always a pleasure to have you in here, my friend. How's your day been? It was actually a pretty good day. I had a good day at work. I had a good day a good time after work, so it's been great. Collective Movie Man says, responding to the Laser. Toxic Gamer says, watching AEW Dynamite, Lord of the Rings, and the Two Towers, and doing some school while watching you at the same time. That is a lot of multitasking, my friend, and I am always an honor, and it's a privilege to always be a part of the multitasking. So thank you so much for including me in that, my friend. Toxic Gamer 331 says, have you seen Better Watch Out? If so, what are your thoughts? If you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. I think you should watch it this Christmas season. Try to walk in as blind as possible. I'll go one step further, man. I've never heard of it. Better Watch Out. I've never heard of that. Sounds like a horror movie for Christmas. I don't know what it is, but that sounds interesting. Let's see here. We also had that. That's just Joe. He managed to stay up later to catch the top of your show. I appreciate that so much, man. Thank you so much. Toxic Gamer says, are you seeing Kraven the Hunter, Lord of the Rings, The War of Rohirrim, or September 5th this weekend? Seeing Kraven for sure. Don't think I'll make it out to Lord of the Rings, but I'll check out Kraven. Laser says, have you ever gotten eye strain? Is it just people with glasses? I don't know if it's just people with glasses, but I definitely have gotten eye strain. I get it a lot. Just like when I'm focusing my eyes for too long, really. The Laser says, how much will Lord of the Rings do? That's tricky. I don't know. I I haven't felt much hype about it. It's an anime. Those tend to be more niche than most movies. I don't know. I don't think it's gonna be huge, but I couldn't tell you what I predict. I'll tell you what, I think it opens. Do I want to say it opens more or less than Craven? I think it opens less than Craven. I think it's gonna be a smaller opening. I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that. There may be a rabid fan base ready to consume this anime Lord of the Rings, and it's Peter Jackson involved, so maybe this has more hype behind it than I'm feeling and hearing. But my experience is that anime movies and anime in general tend to be more niche, especially at the box office. So I don't know. I think it'll do fine, but it won't be a smash hit, I guess I would say. Toxic Gamer says, what's a movie you love, but it seems everyone else hates? The movie, including the critics and audiences, hate it. I know ones that critics hate, audiences hate it, but I love it. You know what? There was a movie from it was either 2022 or 2023 that I freaking love. Like I saw this twice in theaters because I had to show one of my friends that I had such a fun time with it. And that's Renfield. And Renfield got dragged through the dirt when it came to the critics. And then I haven't really met too many people besides a couple friends of mine that I know in life that actually liked Renfield. A lot of people I talked to in the movie space in this community, they didn't like Renfield. I think I gave Renfield a strong recommend when I saw it. I was so happy with it. I had such a fun time with it. And people don't seem to like that movie, but I do. So there you go. The ladies are saying 2 weeks till Christmas. That's right. Happy holidays, everybody. The View with Drew. What's going on, Drew? Hey, everyone. What's up? How's it going, Drew? Good to see you, my friend. Laser says Joker 2 has now ended its theatrical run, earning only $206 million worldwide. That's terrible. Yeah, it's terrible. But it's not surprising anymore. I mean, that movie came out of the gates failing. That movie literally stepped 1 foot out of the gate and fell flat on its face and has never been able to get up since. It's a travesty. It's a travesty in terms of the legacy of what Todd Phillips did with Joker and Joaquin Phoenix. It's a travesty for the studio who put the money into that. It's a travesty for DC because this just continues to hurt the brand and makes James Gunn's work even harder to rebuild the brand. Yeah, retrospect, hindsight is 2020. They never should have made this movie. They never should have made Joker 2. It was a terrible idea across the board. And that's coming from someone who doesn't even hate the movie. I find a lot in the movie that I enjoy. I don't think I don't recommend the movie overall, but I didn't think it was a dumpster fire like a lot of people did. And it's just proven to be a terrible, terrible idea to have done. Tox Gamer says, also this week I've been watching and reviewing each of the Hobbit Lord of the Rings movie. That is quite the endeavor, my friend. Good job. Including the 70s animated movies building up to the newest one out this week. Nice, man. That's awesome, dude. That's quite the project. The Laser says, I hate that Marvel is relying on the past and we're getting the return of our old Avengers before we know our new ones. Marvel really has fumbled on that part, but I'm still excited for Avengers 5. Yeah, I mean, you can't say that they didn't try to introduce new characters. For a while there, for like a year and a half, all they were doing was introducing new characters. They over saturated the market with new characters, and it hurt their brand because people just couldn't keep up, and because of how interconnected the universe is, people felt like they were falling behind, and it became homework. I think that going back to the old Avengers, going back to Robert Downey Jr., going back to Chris Evans, and I will have the right to change my opinion after I see the movie. But as it is right now, sitting here just hearing it hit my ears, it sounds like a gimmick. It sounds like let's put a dash of nostalgia in the recipe because that always works, and let's get them back. Let's bring people back by dashing them with that nostalgia, which I get. And this is coming from someone who likes the idea of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom, is excited to see Robert Downey Jr. play Dr. Doom, and looking forward to the next Avengers films. Like, Marvel hasn't lost me, that's for sure. I'm still a big fan of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I try to watch everything. I still haven't finished Agatha. But yeah, no, they oversaturated with new characters, and it overwhelmed the audience, and they got to do something to reel that audience back in. And this dash of nostalgia seems to be the way that they want to go. Even bringing the Russo brothers, the directors from the first two Avengers films. that's still nostalgic. That's still dashing them with nostalgia. So yeah, we'll see how it pans out. We'll see if it brings the success that they're used to seeing from the Avengers films, but you never know. Envire Earth 2 says, Merry Christmas, everyone. What will your wife buy you, Zach? I don't know what she's going to buy me. That would ruin the surprise, wouldn't it? Toxic Gamer says, how would you rank the big Hobbit Lord of the Rings villains? That being Sauron, Saruman, Smaug, Gollum, and the Orc King from worst to best. I'd have to watch those movies again, man. I mean, Sauron is obviously at the top for me. Probably followed by Gollum, then Smaug. And then based off my memory, I don't remember who Saruman and the Orc King are. I don't remember who those are. You know what? I never saw the last Hobbit film. I'm just remembering. I only saw the Unexpected Journey and the Desolation of Smaug. I never went and saw the Battle of the Five Armies. I never got around to seeing that one. I'm just remembering. So I might have actually missed that. I have no idea. Toxic Gamer, which prequel series is worse, The Hobbit or Fantastic Beasts? I gotta go with Fantastic Beasts because I only saw the first movie and then I was out. I've seen 2 Hobbit films and then I never got around to seeing the third one, but I still want to see the third one. I don't really care to see the other Fantastic Beasts movies, so I'm gonna go with Fantastic Beasts. And Fantastic Beasts was supposed to be 5 movies; they couldn't even make it past 3 because the audience ditched and left them. So the fact that the series got canceled and I haven't seen the other 2 and I don't care to see the other 2, I got to go with Fantastic Beasts. That's just Joe saying, I think it's Cap. You think it's Cap coming back? The Ace Avenue says, I would love to see Evil Cap. It could be fun. Like, depending on how they do it, it could be. They kind of already did a little nod, a little homage to a Hydra Cap, though, right? Like in Endgame, when he gets in the elevator, Hail Hydra and all that. So they kind of already did a little fun nod to that. And I don't know. To me, I just hear gimmick. I don't know if I really care to see an evil Captain America, but it could be fun. Depending on how they do it, it absolutely could be fun. Talks Game with Uthi one says, what are your thoughts on each of the Middle Earth movies? Well, as I mentioned before, I haven't seen Battle of the Five Armies. The Hobbit Unexpected Journey, I remember thinking was okay. I haven't seen that in years. I got to do a whole rewatch of the Hobbit films and first watch because I don't remember them very well. But I remember the first one being okay. I liked the game in the cave with Gollum a lot. Decimation, what's it called? Of Smaug. I remember liking that more than the Hobbit Unexpected Journey. So I put Decimation of Smaug over Unexpected Journey. I like that one more. Fellowship of the Ring is very good. Very good start to the journey. Very good introduction to the characters and the world. The Two Towers definitely amps things up. I think my favorite's Return of the King, though. I really like Return of the King. Fantastic finale to the whole journey. Sam is the MVP. Sam is the true hero of the entire franchise. So yeah, if I had to rank them off the top of my head, having not seen Battle of the Five Armies, Return of the King at the top, then Two Towers, then Fellowship, then Smaug, then Unexpected Journey, I guess, which I think is just reverse order of their numbers, but whatever. Dakota Man Movies says, I think Robert Downey Jr. is going to be playing both Doom and Iron Man. Since it's Secret Wars, you're going to be bringing in all these characters. You can't do that without Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. I think you can. I'm not interested in that. I'm really not interested in them bringing back Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, even for a scene or a cameo. If you're doing him as Doctor Doom, just keep him as Doctor Doom. Just keep him. Especially if you want us to not see him as Tony Stark, do not bring him in as Tony Stark. Also, Kevin Feige has said that like they worked so many years, they built up for years to get to the finale, the conclusion to Iron Man's life and his journey and story. He doesn't want to undo that. At least he said that in interviews. He doesn't want to undo it. He doesn't plan to undo it. Whether he's being truthful or not, we'll have to wait and see. But I can tell you right now, I like where let Iron Man rest. Let him lie with the fantastic years of the MCU. I don't want him back. I don't want him to be Iron Man again. Collect Movement says it's going to be Old Man Captain America. I hope so, man. That's the one that's most intriguing to me. Toxic Gamer says, when are you predicting the next Knives Out movies are coming out? Well, the third one comes out next year. The fourth one, I imagine, will come like 2027, maybe 26. But no, what's it called? Dead Man, Wake Up Dead Man, I think it's called. The next one comes out next year. Looking forward to it. Dakota Man Movie says Marvel's trying to make people excited for the next Avengers movie by casting the old Avengers before we even know who the new Avengers are. Sean Chandler. Oh yes, I did see that live stream he did. Which that was a very valid point by Sean Chandler. Like, yes, we don't know who the Avengers are. And they're bringing back old Avengers. But by the way, they probably give it a week, and Johansson will probably be signed on. Scarlett Johansson's probably coming back as well as Black Widow. Mark my words. But for me, I really don't think that you need to establish a new team before you do Avengers, because the team can assemble in the Avengers movie. Like, yes, we knew Captain America, Iron Man, Thor, and Hulk were going to be the Avengers because the movies led up to the Avengers, but they really didn't become the Avengers until that movie, and those were just the introductions to their characters. They've kind of done the same thing here. They've introduced a lot of new characters, whether on Disney Plus shows, in the movies with Shang-Chi and all that kind of stuff. All they need to do is establish a threat with Doom. He threatens the Earth. Something happens to one of the characters or a number of characters. They realize, oh crap, we need help. Maybe they go to Old Man Cap. Can't help. I'm old now. But I have some friends, or I know some people who can help you. And then they just go and gather, and they assemble a new Avengers team. Like, you can do it in the movie itself. Like, I don't think that that's really that big of an issue, not knowing who the Avengers are currently. We may not find out until the actual movie themselves. And I think that that would be fine. Like, I think that this is a good point that Sean Chandler made. I don't necessarily agree with it 100%, though. I do think that there's a way of doing an Avengers movie where that is when, like, maybe at the end of that movie, even they're like, all right, you're the new Avengers. Like, maybe Old Man Cap, maybe that's his scene. Maybe he gives them the affirmation. All right, you guys, Kate Bishop, Miss Marvel, Sam Wilson, Hulk's son with the bad hairdo. You are the new Avengers. Smash the credits or something. I don't know. But there's a way to do it. There's definitely a way to do it. Collective Movie Man says we're gonna see Captain America with a Keen and an adult diaper fight. That's an image in your head. Dope. I'm down for it. I'm absolutely down for that. Toxic Gamer 331. I think Spider-Man villain verse was interesting on paper, more particularly for Venom and Kraven the Hunter, but the execution wasn't good, even though I don't hate the Venom trilogy or Morbius. Well, I'm glad you don't hate them, man. That's good. They gotta have fans. I'm glad it's you. I didn't hate Venom Let There Be Carnage that much, and I didn't hate Venom the Last. Well, I didn't really like Venom the Last Dance. They were experiments that failed. You can't really get around it. They were experiments that failed. I wish they had put more effort into a lot of them. Like, Madam Web had no effort whatsoever put into it, and that could have been a really cool. Like, allegedly, the original story for Madam Web was Terminator, but with Mary Parker. She's carrying Peter Parker, and so the villain from the future comes trying to kill her to kill unborn Peter, and then Madam Web, being able to see the future, stops her or stops the villain or whatever. That was allegedly, I remember that was a number of years back. That was allegedly what they were going to do. That was never confirmation that the story was ever that way, but it could have been. And that already sounds way interesting than what we got with Madam Web, where she protects 3 teenagers from a dumb guy in a suit who's having a dream about falling off a building. Like, there's so much more they could have done, and they just didn't put effort into it. And they're reaping what they sow. They didn't put any effort into it, so they are not getting the benefits of if they did. Toxic Gamer saying Madam Web was the first one where I went, yep, that was bad, but I think it could be watchably bad. It's got some so bad it's funny moments to it, but not enough where I would sit down and watch that entire 2 hours again just for those moments. I'd rather just watch the clips on YouTube. Nathan's Random Movies. Nobody is craving for more, but that's good, man. That's good. My hat is off to you. I wish I'd thought of that myself. That's good. DJ's Family of Nerds. What's going on, DJ? Been a while, my friend. I hope you're doing well. Hey, man. Sorry I've been gone so long. I've been super busy between a newborn baby and a month ago. I'm trying to keep my gaming channel going. Nice. Yeah, shout out to the Rio the Penguin. Hope to get back to movies soon. Good seeing you, buddy. Good seeing you, DJ. I miss you, man. I'm glad to see you in the chat, and congrats to you and your family on the baby and father. I mean, you're already a father, but still exciting, man. Congratulations, man. Take care. Dakota Man Movies, SSU 2018 to 2024, died before it was born. Yeah, barely got to walking. The Laser says no more SSU means no more masterpieces like more Boosie. More Boosie. Yeah, no longer Morbin time. No longer Morbin time. The Laser. Someone said a 3C Films popcorn bucket would be called the 3 cuss. Oh, 3 cuss. Oh, gosh. Oh, man. People are crazy. Talks Gamer 331 says at least Beyond the Spider-Verse and Spider-Man 4 are top priority. Yes, as they should be. That is the character people want. That is your investment. That is who you need to protect. If these movies are hurting that brand, you need to get rid of these movies. And I'm glad to hear them do. And Spider-Man 4, I mean, it's got to be great. It's got to be great. And if the disagreements going on between Marvel and Sony are true, and they can't get a hold on the story, which I hear that the rumors are now that they've got a lock on a story, or at least an idea that they're happy with. But who knows how true that is, right? But if that is true, if they're at odds, you got to come to common ground. You got to get this figured out. This is Spider-Man 4. This is the first ever Spider-Man 4. How exciting is that? We've never gotten to 4 Spider-Man films. This is the very first one. Don't mess it up. The Ace Avenue says, what is your favorite non-superhero Sony movie? I have to remember what movies Sony produced. That's a really good question. I can't think off the top of my head though. What movies? Like is Men in Black Sony? I feel like they are. I feel like Men in Black is Sony, but I don't remember. Sony Pictures, Sony movies. What is Sony's biggest movie? It's all Spider-Man. Jumanji's pretty good. I like Jumanji. Welcome to the Jungle. Karate Kid, Sony. Ghostbusters is Sony, apparently. Ghostbusters would definitely be up there. Yeah, Bad Boys is Sony. The Mitchells versus the Machines is Sony. Okay. Their animation stuff can actually be pretty good, but Mitchells versus the Machines is underrated because it got released on freaking Netflix when it should have been theatrical. So yeah, that's definitely up there. Hotel Transylvania is Sony. Okay. 65. That was disappointing. Yeah, I think I'll go with Ghostbusters for now. I'll go with Ghostbusters and maybe Mitchell's versus the Machines. I really like that one too for Sony. That's a really good question, man. I've never actually looked into that. Dakota Man Movies. When do you think Beyond the Spider-Verse will release? Doing the math from everything we've heard, I'm guessing either 2027 or 2028. Well, hopefully, they've been working on it for a while now, so hopefully they can just get it out by next year. I mean, my hope would be next year. 2026 would be my my next hope, I guess. My optimism is next year, but I could see 2026. 2027 or 2028 seems really far for me. Seeing how they originally announced the release date for 2020, well, this year, 2024, that seems really far. 2028. I would think no later than 2026, but we'll see. It depends on how far along they are and who knows what they're doing to those animators. Mush, you know. The Laser. How was 2024 for comic book movies? I think you guys already know my opinion. Man and Web, Deadpool 3, Joker, Folia Do, and Venom, Moosey, Craven. I mean, depending on how Craven turns out, and it doesn't sound like Craven's looking to turn out great. Besides Deadpool and Wolverine, I haven't enjoyed a single one. Joker a little bit. Joker 2, I'll give a little bit more credit to. But other than that, terrible. It's been a terrible year for comic book movies. The Laser, a live-action Tangled remake is in the works at Disney. We need Catherine Hahn as the Mother Gothel. That's a good casting. Props to you. That's a good casting. Why? Just why? That's the only real thought I have when I hear this is why. When did Tangled come out? 2014, or is it older than that? When did Tangled come out? Because that feels, I love Tangled, by the way, and that feels so freaking 2010. Okay, earlier than that, 2010. All right, so it's been, by the time it comes out, it'll probably be like 20 or 16 years, I guess, since the original. But why? I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, it makes more sense to me than Moana. Doing a live action Moana when you just put out a sequel to the animated one this year. You're getting a live action one next year of a remake of the first film that we got back in 2016. I don't get that one at all. I really don't. And after watching Moana recently, before Moana 2 and watching Moana 2, that is so dependent on the gorgeous animation. I don't know how they're going to translate that into live action. And Tangled is kind of the same way with the hair and everything. Like, I wonder how that's going to translate into live action. But still, I'm just like, why? I don't know. I don't care. There's improvements to be made, I'm sure, but I'm not excited. I'll say that. Could be awesome, though. Who knows? The laser says SSU is dead, so let's pop some bottles. Yep. Woohoo! Toxic Gamer 331. Even though I'm more warmer on Morbius than everyone else, I fully acknowledge it isn't a good movie. I overall just think it's okay. Hey, I'm glad you like it, man. I really am. That movie frustrated me a lot. Collect Movie Man. I don't really care. I only saw the 2 Venom movies, but after the second Venom movie, I lost interest. Yeah, you saved yourself a lot of hours, my friend. You really did. Dakota Man Movies. How many Blu-rays do you own? How many Blu-rays do I own? I think I'm in the 700s. I think. I don't know. I'll be doing a Blu-ray collection video next year. Early next year. Okay, I already shot it. I shot my Blu-ray collection video already for next year. I'm getting a couple of videos recorded and scheduling them for months into January and February and hopefully March, because I'm going to be a new father come February. So I may not have as much time to produce content. So I'm trying to get ahead on that a little bit. So I've actually already shot my Blu-ray collection video for next year. I'm not sure when it'll be coming out. It might be February, might be January. I don't know. But I think I'm in the 700s. I could be wrong. Michael 11591 says Sony needs to take a break from these. I liked all 3 Venom films, and Morbius is a guilty pleasure. Man of Web is horrendous, and I hope Graven Hunter will be good. I hope Graven's good, but it doesn't look like that's going to go my way. But we'll see. But yeah, no, they're taking a break. They need to take a break. I agree with you, my friend. Hopefully their break extends to forever. But you know what? They may go back to the well one day, and I hope that when they do, they come back with more effort. The Laser. Got my yummy rice dinner with steak, cheese, and sour cream. I love these live streams, and they always feel like events every Wednesday, so I always need my food or snacks. Thanks for what you do. Well, thank you so much, man. That is the nicest comment I've gotten in my entire life. I would say, like, that is very, very, very kind of you to say, and I'm so glad that you enjoy these, because I enjoy doing them, and I'm gonna keep doing them for as long as I can. They may not be as consistent come next year for baby reasons, but they are a big a joy in my life to do, and to get together with this community with you guys. You guys have been absolutely incredible, and it's always such a privilege and a pleasure to get to come on here with you, and to know that someone on the other side of this webcam is eating snacks and enjoying the show in the way that I always hope people will. That just warms my heart, and that makes me feel very humbled, and I appreciate you so much, Laser. Thank you so much for what you've done for this community and for being a part of it. Toxic Gamer 331 says the problem with Sony is the most of the villains they chose besides Venom and Kraven are not well known to the public, and they felt like they could have had a TV series instead. No, I think the problem with them is that they sucked. I think the problem with them is that, first of all, their marketing was always deceitful. Their marketing, especially with Morbius. Morbius was the worst case because they had a bunch of Spider-Man Easter eggs in there. It was always deceitful, and they just lost trust with the audience. If Venom, we'll take Venom out of it because some people actually really do like Venom, but if Venom was universally loved, and then they came out and it was like, boom, Morbius just hit like just right, and it was like this gothic vampire horror-ish kind of movie, and it just like it satisfied the entertainment souls of the viewers, and they fell in love with it and they just enjoyed it. And then you moved on to Madam Web, and it was like this other quirky kind of crazy time traveling kind of seeing into the future adventure, and we liked the character and we liked the story and we got invested in it. This universe could have grown. This universe could have gone on, but they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. They wanted these to be villains, but anti-villains. They didn't really put too much effort into the stories, in my opinion. And it just fizzled out, and the box office just fizzled out, and people's interest, they just stopped caring. Look what happened to the DCEU. And I said this a little while ago on the show too. Sony was in the position of the DCEU. They are in the position of the DCEU, where the DCEU eventually it took a lot longer than Sony, but eventually the DCEU lost the fans' trust and interest, and their box office just started to plummet. And they needed James Gunn to come in and reboot the whole thing, or continue the whole thing, but under a new name, and fix it and save the brand. And Sony's in the same position. People have lost interest in this universe, and they need to abandon it. And I'm glad they did. The Laser. Are you shocked that Frozen hasn't gotten a live action treatment yet? Nah, it's coming. It's coming. I think they will wait till Frozen 4 releases. How big can a Frozen live action be since the OG made 1.3 billion? Oh yeah, it could be a billion film. Easily. Frozen live action could be a billion film. That'll make all the money. I don't know who you cast. I'm sure that that depends a lot on it too, but yeah, that'll make all the money. It'll make a lot of money. And they will do it. They will do it. And I bet they do it. A Frozen live action movie, I bet they do it before 2030. I bet by the end of the decade they do it. I wouldn't be surprised. Collector Movie Man says, "Hey Zach, I don't know if you got my invite for my birthday live stream this Sunday. I sent you a message from my group chat. It's called You've been invited to my birthday live stream." Oh, okay. Yes, I've seen that. I haven't clicked on it yet. On Sunday. Let me check my calendar. I'll get back to you on Instagram about that, man. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. And happy early birthday, buddy. That's awesome. The Ace Avenue. So what did you think of the Cobra Kai Part 2 finale? I kind of already talked about this a little bit, but I enjoyed it a lot more than Part 1, and I thought it was ridiculously fun. And I was surprised at what happened to Quan. I'll say that. I was surprised. I wasn't like emotionally invested in that character, but I did not think that was going to be how his character left the show. Toxic Gamer. I've also started watching the Equalizer franchise with the first film, which I thought was good, even though it's quite similar to John Wick. I've never seen any of the Equalizer films. That's when I gotta get on that one. The Laser. Dream Productions in the world of Inside Out is streaming on Disney Plus. Kind of cool. We got 2 Inside Out projects in 1 year, and Inside Out 2 is still in some theaters, close to 1.7 billion worldwide. Wow, that's crazy. That's really crazy. I probably won't watch it, to be honest. It's Inside Out Disney Plus series. I just don't have the time to invest and care. I love Inside Out. I love Inside Out 2. It's in my top 10 favorites of the year. Might even be in the top 5. I don't know yet. But I don't know if I have any interest in that Dream Productions show. Toxic Gamer says, my actual favorite Christmas movie is Nightmare Before Christmas. I just forgot to add that to my comment section. Where would you put that in the tier list video you did? Nightmare Before. That's such an interesting one for me because it definitely is it plays both sides of the field, right? Like it is a Christmas movie, but you watch it around Halloween time as well. And I'm someone who I'll usually watch that on Halloween day, right before, like it leads me into Christmas. So I don't even know if I really consider that one a Christmas movie as much. I consider that more a Halloween movie, even though the story and the plot kind of revolves more around Christmas, but then the ending's about finding your place, and his place is Halloween. It's a very interesting movie. As a movie itself, I put it in the A category. As a Christmas movie, I might put it in the B. I might put it in the B category. I have to think more on that one. But yeah, that's always been a fascinating movie to me, and I love that it's that fascinating and has that conversation. The Laser. Aaron Taylor Johnson wants to return as Kraven in Sinister Six film. I love the idea of doing Sinister Six. Yeah, sorry, buddy. Womp womp. Maybe you'll get to be pulled back into the MCU as a variant. The Laser. Every SSU film has a rotten on Rotten Tomatoes. Venom 2 has a 58 as the highest, and Kraven has an 8. Yeah, apparently that's gone up to 16. But that's terrible. Just terrible. Laser 2026 has Mario Brothers 2. That's going to smash. Shrek 5. That's going to smash. Lord of the Rings movie. What? Lord of the Rings movie. Is that Hunt for Gollum? Is Hunt for Gollum's 2026? I guess that would check out. That must be Hunt for Gollum. Toy Story 5, that's going to smash. Scream 7, despite what people think about the controversy, that's going to do very well. Avengers 5, that's going to smash. Untitled Christopher Nolan movie, that's going to be a big hit. Untitled Steven Spielberg film, that's the one he's doing about UFOs, probably going to be a pretty decent hit. And Jordan Peele movie, that's going to do very well. And Batman Part 2, that's going to smash. Yeah, 2026 is going to be a big year. 2026 is going to be a big year, and I'm excited for it. But let's get through 2025 first. Let's get through 2025. Also a big year. Very excited. If I were to, is Venom 1 the best Sony movie? For me, it's Venom Let There Be Carnage. But I'm in the minority on that. I understand. Toxic Gamer 321 says, now switching to Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Enjoy that 4 hour and 12 minutes, my friend, or 21 minutes, whatever it is. Toxic Gamer, to think that Doomsday and Secret Wars could include Toby, Andrew, Tom, Wolverine, Deadpool, Star-Lord, Fantastic Four, Robert Downey Jr., and Chris Evans could be awesome, among others, maybe popping up too. Could also be a mess. Just playing devil's advocate on that one. But yeah, I do think Toby and Andrew is going to pop up. They're going to do their darndest to get Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman back for that one as well. We'll have to see how it plays out. We'll have to see how they do. But yeah, it could be a huge movie that fulfills all my dreams, or it could be the first Avengers film that truly feels like a mess. But in Kevin Feige and the Russo brothers, I trust. They haven't let me down yet. Enviro 2. What do you think about Jim Carrey saying that he would do The Grinch 2 and The Mask 2? Would you think, or would you rather, a Truman Show sequel or Ventura? I'd love to see an Ace Ventura sequel, but I don't think they'd ever do that. I don't think The Grinch will ever happen because Dr. Seuss's estate has actually it was Cat in the Hat, Mike Myers' Cat in the Hat, and The Grinch from 2000. The estate says that they can no longer make live action Dr. Seuss movies. So I don't think a Grinch 2 live action would ever happen because I don't think they can make a live action Dr. Seuss Grinch 2. So I don't think that'll happen, and I'm not interested in seeing it. You'd have to go away from the source material. You'd have to make up your own thing. What's the conflict? How are you going to create a new conflict for the Grinch, for the scenario, for Christmas, all that kind of stuff? Unless you don't do Christmas and you do another holiday with the Grinch, I'm not interested in that, and I don't think it'll ever happen. The Mask 2 is a little bit different. The Mask is definitely a movie I think is aging kind of poorly, but there's still some things in there that would translate very well to today. Does Jim Carrey, at the age that he's at now, will he have the ability to do the mask like he did back in the day? Probably not to the same extent, but it's got to be better than Son of the Mask. Oh my gosh, redeem Son of the Mask. I want Mask 2 just to redeem us from Son of the Mask. Of the two, the Mask 2 I'd be more interested in and I think is more plausible. I don't think the Grinch 2 would ever happen. I don't think I'd want to see it. Enviro 2 says, hype for Sonic 3. It'll be better than Kraven. I bet it will. I bet Sonic 3 will definitely be better than Kraven. And I'm excited for it. I'm looking forward to it. I love the parody Christmas posters that they're putting out recently of like Home Alone, Christmas Vacation, all that stuff. I think that's genius. Dakota Man Movies says, keep watching Burn. Toy Story 3, The Lion King, How to Train Your Dragon. Ooh, is that that must be the original Lion King, I imagine, because if it's 2019 one, I'll easily burn that one. But if it's the classic one, that's I'll burn How to Train Your Dragon. Unfortunately, I'll watch The Lion King, and then I'll keep Toy Story 3. That's my favorite of the Toy Story franchise, I think. Toxic Gamer, if you had the opportunity to adopt one of these pets for free, who would you choose? Puss in Boots. He's going to be a little rascal. Toothless. Stitch. Oh, my goodness. Talk about trouble. Clifford the Big Red Dog. Scooby-Doo or Rio from the animated movie. Yeah, I'm going Scooby-Doo, man. Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo is my OG. I grew up with Scooby-Doo. Puss in Boots, you know, he's got a little sword. He can be a little mouthy. I don't know if I want him around my house. Toothless. A little big for where I live. Stitch would just be a maniac. I would love to cuddle up with Stitch. He looks very fluffy and cute, but I think he would tear the house apart, and I just can't afford that. Clifford the Big Red Dog wouldn't fit through the door, so I don't really see the need to have that big of a dog. Scooby-Doo, we're just going to chill. We're going to eat some sandwiches, and we're going to watch some movies. That's how I see my life with Scooby-Doo, and that's how I want it. Toxic Gamer 331, have you seen the Last of Us TV show? If so, what are your thoughts? Still have not seen the complete season. I've only seen the first episode. I got to get back on that, though. I really do. The Ace Avenue says, I enjoyed Renfield for what it was worth. Yay! Another person who likes Renfield. Always happy to see that. Toxic Gamer, what Christmas present do you want this year? I'm still putting a list together, and I'm not exactly sure. What I want, besides some Blu-rays. Sean Monk. What's going on, Sean Monk? Thanks for joining, buddy. Good to see you in here. I think in this case, Steve makes sense. Could just be old man Steve coming in for a meeting, providing counsel. We got to have you on our show, Planet Film Live. Hey, thank you so much. I appreciate the invite. I appreciate you guys even considering wanting me on that. Yeah, Instagram is the best way to reach me, even though I'm stocked up on messages and I'm a little bit behind. But yeah, Zach Milne Talks Movies on Instagram. Send me a message. I'll see it. I think it will show up in my requested. I'll accept it. And let's get talking. That sounds fun. And thank you so much for the invite. And I agree. Old Man Steve is the way that I would want to go too. He says Battle of the Five Armies is also fun in his opinion. Yeah, okay, awesome. I honestly can't even remember what the reception of that one was. Was it good? Was it bad? I can't even remember. I got to get on that. Toxic Gamer 331 says, what is the best example of a villain's origin story on screen that isn't their own movie, and what is the worst example of that? Okay, best example of a villain's origin story that was told on screen that isn't in their own movie, and what is the worst example of that? Oh man, that's a tricky question. I would say not in their own movie. I would say the worst. I might get flack for this, but this is coming to mind, and I don't freaking care. I'm gonna say it. I think the worst is Catwoman and Batman Returns. I know people love Batman Returns. I get it. It's the holiday season too, and I'm crapping on the Christmas movie that is Batman Returns. I'm sorry. I don't understand the Catwoman story in that at all. She falls through a window and then she dies, and then cats lick her and she comes back to life, and then she's just seductive and horny all the time. I don't know. It never clicked in my brain. I don't understand that origin story whatsoever. So I think that's pretty bad. And so that's the worst example. The best example of a villain origin story told on screen that isn't theirs. That isn't their movie, I think is what you're trying to say. I like Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2. Doc Ock and Spider-Man 2, that one comes to mind. Let's go with that one for now, and then I can change my mind later. Collective Movie Man says, here's what I know is coming out in 2026. Dune Part 3. Has that been confirmed? That'll do very well. Batman Part 2 will smash. Avengers Doomsday will do very well. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. Very excited for that one. I think that's going to do very well. Sunrise on the Reaping. I don't know what that is. Super Mario 2 is going to be huge. Toy Story 5 is going to be huge. Christopher Nolan movie is going to be huge. And Steven Spielberg. And Mandalorian and Grogu. I don't know how that one's going to do, to be honest. I'm not very excited about Mandalorian and Grogu. Michael 11591 says, Men in Black is Sony. Okay, yeah, it is Sony. The Laser, is Sony a mid company in terms of making films? I mean, they have so good movies, but recently a lot of their movies haven't been great. For a while there, I thought that they were the worst film company. Back in like 2012 to 2014 or 15, I can't even remember. They're not my favorite. I'll say that. They're not my favorite. They've produced some really great stuff. They've made some great stuff. They've also made a lot of crap. So, yeah. Toxic Gamer says, I'm a head out now. Great stream as always, man. Have a nice rest of your week, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Pizza time. Well, thank you so much, Toxic Gamer, as always, for being here and hanging out with us. The show is made better because you were a part of it, my friend, and I appreciate you, dude. You have a good night. The Laser says, Sony animation used to be awful. Animations were treated very poorly, but they go from Emoji Movie to Spider-Verse. Emoji Movie. Oh my gosh. I blocked that out of my memory, which redeemed the studio. Yeah, they definitely did. They got some good graces when they did Spider-Verse after the Emoji Movie, because the Emoji Movie was terrible. Collective Movement says, Zach, I just wanted to ask, what did you think of the casting choices for the Harry Potter TV show so far? Have they casted for the Harry Potter TV show? I haven't seen anything. Why haven't I seen anything? Wait, there was talk about a Snape, but I don't remember who it was. I don't know. I'll have to look at that because I don't think I'm caught up with that. The Laser. The thing about Beyond the Spider-Verse is that a lot of the actors haven't recorded their lines yet. That's okay. That's okay. When the animation's done, they look at how fast it took for The Rock and Leo Cravero to record their lines for Moana 2. Right? That movie was announced. That was going to be a TV series without them voicing it. It was announced as a movie and converted into a movie at the beginning of this year, and they got their lines recorded for it to come out in November. So, not an issue. Not an issue. I wouldn't worry about that right now. The Laser says, I thought Moana live action might make $700 million, but after Moana 2's glowing box office, how can the live action do? I don't know, man. Moana 2's box office to me is just a testament and a reflection of how beloved the first Moana and how good the first Moana is, because people are going to Moana 2 off of the faith and off of the trust built off of the first Moana. I don't think Moana 2 is anywhere near the level of quality and effort that is deserved to be making this much money. I do have to eat my words, though. In my review, I said I don't think it's going to make $1 billion. That's clearly wrong. This thing's already crossed 600 million worldwide. This thing is going over the $1 billion mark. And I credit that to the first Moana more than I credit it to how Moana 2 turned out. Again, Moana live action is going to benefit off of the goodwill of Moana already. And it's going to depend on how it looks, how the trailer is, how do they translate the water effects and translate the story into live action, because I do feel like the medium of animation is such a benefit to Moana and its story, and it's so gorgeous and beautiful to look at. Can they replicate that? Can they get that magic right in Moana the live action? I don't know. And the rock star is kind of fading a little bit, so we'll have to wait and see. But I do think it'll be huge. I do think it could be very big. Collective Movie Man says, I have 409 movies. I have 209 4K movies and 98 Blu-rays and 90 DVDs. Wow, man. You're thorough. I don't even know. I just have Blu-rays. You're thorough, man. The laser, is it just me or does Halloween feel boring now? I feel like the costumes are cool, but I don't get that excited about the trick-or-treating as much anymore. And plus, I give away all my candy every time. Welcome to getting older, buddy. Welcome to getting older. Things you loved as a kid, they're lame now. There you go. Yeah, it's all part of life. The 8th Avenue. Would you say Rise of the Guardians is a Christmas movie? It has Santa. The North Pole takes place around winter, and Jack Frost. Winter, but I don't think it's Christmas. I'd have to watch that movie again before I give a definitive answer, because I haven't seen that for a while. But my memory is that it really didn't have anything to do with Christmas. It's like an Avengers movie taking on the Sandman with a bunch of these mythical creatures. The laser says this year went by too quickly. 2025 on to 2025. Yeah, we're already almost halfway through December, which is crazy. So yeah, it's gonna be not much longer, and we'll be in 2025. Hard to believe, but that's crazy. The laser. Will Disney make live action Zootopia? Oh, gross. Gross. Give it time. They did live action Lion King. Give it time. They're doing everything. They're doing everything, for better or worse. Laser, DC Studios Clayface movie is officially moving forward. Mike Flanagan is writing the script. Production is set to start next year. I haven't heard of this, but it does seem a little bit contradictory to what James Gunn has said, which James Gunn has said that nothing's officially confirmed or announced until the script is finished. So if Mike Flanagan is writing the script, they shouldn't be announcing this yet. So I don't know how accurate this is. I'm not saying that the source you got this from or whatever is lying. I haven't seen the article. I haven't seen the news myself. So maybe it's true. But if it's saying Mike Flanagan is going to write the script, that seems contradictory to what James Gunn said, which is we will get an official announcement once the script is done. But could be. Who knows? The laser. I enjoyed Renfield, but it only made 26 million worldwide. Yeah, it did not do well. It did not do well because not everyone likes that movie. A bunch of losers. The laser. Paramount made an ugly Sonic sweater for Christmas. I love that. I love that Paramount has embraced their mistake. They went back and fixed it. Credit to them. Props to them. The fans hated it. It was gonna hurt their movie. Whether you want to agree with that or not, it was going to hurt the movie, and they fixed it. So have fun with it now. I loved when Ugly Sonic showed up in Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. That was such an underrated movie from 2022, I want to say, because it came out on Disney Plus. I don't know how well it would have done in the theaters anyways, but it came out on Disney Plus. No one watched it. It was under the radar. And that movie, if you have not seen Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers, which is basically Who Framed Roger Rabbit for this decade, for this generation, it is awesome. It's so fun. So many fun cameos, one of which being the actual Ugly Sonic design as a character. I love it so much. It's great. Laser, did you hear that Lin-Manuel Miranda wants to write songs for the next James Bond film? Let him do the intro song. It's Lin-Manuel Miranda. Let him do the intro song. Just don't make James Bond a musical. The Laser. Lin-Manuel Miranda wants a live-action version of The Lion King 1.5. It's low-key great. Bro's killing me. I mean, Lion King 1.5. I remember watching that as a kid and just feeling kind of ripped off. I remember feeling kind of ripped off from that movie. Just like it's like all the best scenes, the scenes of The Lion King that you want to watch are happening off screen, and we're just following Timon and Pumbaa during those scenes, which is like as a concept kind of cool. But as a kid, I was always just like, I want to watch The Lion King. Then I don't like the scenes I want to watch are happening over there. I should just watch The Lion King. Of course, as a kid, I couldn't articulate that. It was just this. I don't know why, but this doesn't feel like The Lion King to me. So that's really funny. I doubt they'd ever do that, but it's Disney, so don't ever doubt them too much. They'll do anything. They're doing freaking Moana live action and Tangled after just a little over a decade. Collector Movie Man says Sunrise on the Reaping is a new Hunger Games book coming out in 2025, and then the movie is coming out the year after, and it's based off of Woody Harrelson's character when he's in the Hunger Games. Oh, okay, interesting. I never did see Snakes and Ladders or whatever it's called. Hunger Games Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. That's what it's called. John Campea calls it Snakes and Ladders. That's funny. I never did see Hunger Games Songbirds and Snakes. Hunger Games isn't really my franchise, not really my thing. I liked the second movie. I didn't really like the first movie. And I didn't really like Mockingjay, either part 1 or part 2. So not really my franchise. I never did see the new one. So that's cool, but I probably won't check it out. Collect the Movie Man. Just wait till you get older, Laser. The same thing happens for Christmas. No, don't say that. Don't say that. You keep that spirit alive. You watch Elf and you keep that Christmas spirit alive. I love Christmas. That's the one thing that as I've gotten to the age that I'm 26 now. So as I've grown older, that's still the childlike love that I have is Christmas. I love Christmas. That feeling still exists for me. I hope it never goes away. But like the excitement of opening the presents and what you're gonna get for Christmas, that definitely changes. That definitely does change as you get older. But I just love being with the family, eating the food, having the day off, watching the Christmas movies. Christmas is still awesome for me. Laser, what happens when Disney runs out of movies to remake? Never gonna happen. Never gonna happen because they're gonna keep making new IP, and then they're gonna remake that. They're just we're getting Elio, right? We're getting Elio next year from Pixar. Give it 15 years and they'll be making that live action. So Inside Out hasn't happened live action yet. They've got tons to go through before they ever run out of doing before they run out of movies to remake. They've got endless amounts of movies to remake, and they can just do remakes of the remakes. They'll never run out. They'll never run out. They might run out of ideas, but they'll never run out of remakes to do. Dakota Man Movies says, thoughts on the way James Gunn is deciding to start the DCU. Peacemaker Season 1 is the start to the DCU in a way, but the events of the Suicide Squad are canon, but not the movie itself. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like it. It's not a deal breaker. Don't get me wrong. It's not a deal breaker. I can live with it, but to me, it's like Creature Commandos, for example, is the start of the DCU. These characters, they're going to go into Superman, they're going to cross over, all that kind of stuff. There are clear nods and clear Easter eggs and references back to the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. They talk about Project Starfish. They talk about the Suicide Squad project. They talk about what happens with Amanda Waller and her daughter at the end of Peacemaker Season 1. Like, all that's in Creature Commandos. To me, that just makes it feel like an extension of the DCEU. Like, you could call it the DCU all you want. It's in the continuity. It's in the world of the DCEU. It just is. Like, you can say it's not. It just is. To me, what that sounds like is James Gunn has taken his projects, the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker, that are associated with the DCEU, and he's just kind of chopping that branch off of that tree. And the DCEU is really the projects that James Gunn started. So really the DCU starts with the Suicide Squad is what I get with that. He can say whether that's true or not. But if you were going to show someone the DCU in its continuity, and it was like Creature Commandos, you'd have to start with the Suicide Squad. And then you'd have to go into Peacemaker, and then you'd go into Creature Commandos, and all that is linear in the story. So I wish that it would just be a completely fresh. We're clean of it. We'll do our own thing. Like, even you could still do Creature Commandos the way that Creature Commandos is being done. Just don't reference those movies. Just don't do that. Don't reference those projects, those events, those movies. This whole idea of if we mention it, it's not canon. If we do mention it, it's canon. It's a cop-out. It's a cop-out to me. It's a cop-out so James Gunn can keep his projects in the DCU, even though they were part of the DCEU. But now we have a new Superman, new Wonder Woman, all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, not a fan of it. It's not a deal breaker. I'll still watch his stuff. It might be a little thing that irks me. But it's what he wants to do. It's how he's going forward. At this point, I'm just kind of throwing my hands up and accepting it. It's kind of the only way you can enjoy the universe at this point. Dakota Man Movies says, did you know that Lin-Manuel Miranda was writing the songs for Mufasa? That's why he didn't write them for Moana 2. I didn't even know Mufasa was going to have songs in it. I'm pretty sure he didn't write songs for Moana 2 because he wasn't going to write songs for a Disney Plus series. They probably couldn't afford him to write a song for a Disney Plus series. And then, yeah, maybe when they were like, hey, Lin, we're making it a movie now. He's probably like, hey, I'm over here on your studio working on Mufasa. Why are you calling me? That could possibly have been it too. That makes me excited for Mufasa. Lin-Manuel Miranda writing songs for Mufasa. Yeah, you could feel his absence in Moana 2, though. You could feel that the songs just weren't there. Does it get any better than this? We're on a boat and we're going on a trip. It's like, oh wow, okay, that's real lyrical genius right there. Didn't sound like Lin-Manuel Miranda at all. Didn't even sound like the songs from the first movie. So you could tell he wasn't there, and I think Mufasa is just going to benefit from that. Collect the Movie Man. I still watch Christmas movies. It's just Christmas gifts have diminished. Yeah, that is getting older, but it's also like, oh wow, you got me socks. I would have loved gas money. Like, that also comes with it. Sometimes when I'm opening Christmas gifts, it is like, oh wow, a thing for $20 that I don't really need. I could have gotten some gas with that, or I could have gotten some groceries with this that you just bought me that I'm not necessarily wanting. Yeah, that definitely comes with getting older. But you know what? Christmas isn't about the gifts. Watch The Grinch. Christmas isn't about the gifts. But I get what you're saying. Absolutely. The Laser. Will Encanto get the live action treatment even though it flopped in theaters? Probably eventually. I would think it gets a sequel first because it flopped in theaters because it came out in COVID times. Like not every theater was. My theater wasn't open when Encanto came out. I remember that. My theater wasn't playing. My theater couldn't play Encanto. My theater wasn't open. So there's always an asterisk to those movies that came out during COVID times and didn't do well. There's always that asterisk there where it's like, you can't really blame the movie itself for that. And you have to remember, Encanto, even though it didn't do well in theaters, it did very well on Disney Plus. I mean, we don't talk about Bruno was all everywhere. You couldn't get that song away from you. We don't talk about it was everywhere. We don't talk about Bruno played everywhere. So people were aware of it. People knew about it. It got recognition. It had fans. It's got a very loyal fan base. I think a lot of people love Encanto. I think Encanto will just continue to be discovered over the next years to come. And I think we get a sequel before we get a live action remake, personally, but I wouldn't put it past them to do a live action remake. Dakota Man Movies says, I hope Disney never touches Pixar with their live action remakes. It's coming. It's coming. Give it time. But Pixar, a lot of their movies, like, how would you even do those in live action, some of them? Laser, Pixar also said no live action remakes, but Bob Iger is leaving 2026, so maybe that rule will change. Yeah, that's the thing, right? New leadership brings new rules, I mean, look what Bob Chapek did. Hey, make as much content as fast as you can, as much as you can, and put it on Disney Plus. Pixar, welcome to Disney Plus. You guys no longer go to theaters. Yep, new management, new ownership, new CEO may bring. Hopefully, Bob Iger picks right this time, though. Hopefully, Bob Iger, Bob Chapek didn't exactly turn out well. Hopefully, he really vets this next guy and really makes sure that they're on the same page before he leaves. But that's the unfortunate thing is you can't secure that. Like Bob Iger can't just keep coming back as CEO. Eventually, Bob Iger needs to officially move on, or he'll die or something. And someone new will officially be a new CEO. We will have a new long-term CEO for Disney eventually. And you can't guarantee that person, even if they're on the same page with Bob Iger at the start, and they're like, yes, Bob Iger, I will do everything that you've told me to do. I'll do everything exactly like you. You can't guarantee that once that guy's in, or that woman or whatever is in that position, that they're going to upheal that. So it's all up in the air. It's all up in the air. We'll see. But yeah, Iger will leave. We will get someone new, and hopefully, it's just is better for Disney than it is worse. Let's see here. The Laser, did you hear the new Mufasa song? I always wanted a brother. The song is pretty good, but of course, the Mufasa hate is crazy, and everybody says go watch Sonic 3 instead. I think Mufasa is going to do very well. I have not heard the song. Honestly, I'll probably just save it for the movie at this point. But yeah, I'll save it for the movie at this point. The Laser, Christmas will never get old for me. It's in 2088 when I am 80 years old. Christmas will always be fun. That's the spirit. There's the Christmas spirit, and we'll still be watching Elf. The Laser, Encanto also bombed because Disney said the film would be on streaming in 1 month after it released in theaters, and it released the same day as Hawkeye, overshadowing the film in theaters. I mean, a lot of people were doing that. The day-and-day releases was insane back in those days. Dakota Man Movie says the old CEO of Disney didn't care for animation, which is another reason it flopped with Strange World. Yeah, Bob Chapek famously kind of poo-pooed on animation, said it was just for kids, said that adults don't go to Disney Plus to watch animation. He rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with those comments for sure. The Laser says live action Onward. There was a movie that didn't get it to do because of COVID. That's so sad. A live action Onward could work. That'd be kind of cool. The Laser, Bob Iger hires Kathleen Kennedy as the new CEO. No way. We'd never get a movie ever again. We'd get a lot of announcements. We'd never get a movie ever again. That would be terrible. Never going to happen, though. That will never happen. Collect a Movie Man. Oh, Zach, I meant to tell you I got him just recently on 4K. Hawkeye Season 1 on 4K. Nice, man. I got to get that myself. Collect a Movie Man says, I really want them to get rid of Kathleen Kennedy. At this point, yeah, you kind of have to. At this point, you kind of have to. She's had so many chances. She has been there for over a decade now. And it's not working. She's putting things into production. She's not getting them through. They've announced so many different movies that never got made and never went into production like they were supposed to. The Disney Plus shows aren't even doing that great in terms of fan reception. She's not a good fit. I think she does need to leave. I do. And I suspect when Bob Iger leaves, if she hasn't left already, that'll be the end of her there as well. Collective Movie Man, I hope you have a good night, Zach. Oh, well, thank you so much, Collective Movie Man. I hope you do too, my friend. And thank you so much for joining and being here. The show was made better because you were a part of it, my friend, and I appreciate you, dude. Have a good night. Jace the Dawn. What's going on, Jace the Dawn? Thanks for joining. It's great to have you here, man. It says, hope X-Men Season 1 97 gets a 4K Steelbook. Me too, man. Me too. I will buy that for sure. And I'm looking forward to the next season of X-Men 97. That show was so much more than I expected it to be because I passively watched some episodes of the X-Men 90 show when it was on. Well, reruns when it was on. But 97 blew my expectations out of the water. It was great. Excuse me. Dakota Man Movies. Thoughts on Ryan Reynolds and what he's doing with his Deadpool career? He's killing it. He's absolutely killing it. He's got a great trilogy. He just single-handedly got the MCU back to $1 billion franchise. Well, not single-handedly. Hugh Jackman also helped with that. I like this comments he made recently on Actors on Actors with Andrew Garfield. He said that he sees Deadpool moving forward as a supporting character in other people's movies. I like that. I'm curious to see how that would work. And that definitely tells me he'll probably be popping up in like Avengers and stuff moving forward. Have you seen that with T? Our beloved channel member and friend. How you doing, T? Good to see you in here, my buddy. All right, just a couple more here. We got Laser. Why is Kathleen Kennedy still at Lucasfilms? They've announced, I believe, 16 films and none of them have happened. Yeah, it's been an insane amount of movies that have never happened. Honestly, I don't know. Your guess is as good as mine. They've got to have either a really great friendship that they just can't let each other down or let each other go, or she's got dirt. She's got dirt on someone at the company, Bob Iger and his family. I don't know. She's got them captured, and unless she keeps being head of Lucasfilm, she'll kill his entire family. I don't know. There's something more behind the scenes going on, because look, I'm not going to act like I know how to run a studio. I'm not going to act like I know how Star Wars should be run and how it should be made, or how I would even do that. But that's why I'm not in the studio system. She is. She is there, and she should know. And she's failed to put a movie. What's it been now? Like 5 years? Yeah, 2019 was the last Star Wars movie in theaters, and now we're in 2024. We're going into 2025. The only movie they have coming out from Star Wars is a continuation of a TV series. That's embarrassing. Like that's embarrassing. And then she keeps announcing projects and keeps announcing directors and writers and all these stuff that they're doing, and then people keep leaving. It's a revolving door over there. And that's not a coincidence that people keep leaving. I mean, there's something going on over there. We may never know. There may be an awesome documentary put out in the next couple of years that lets us in and lets us know, but this can't continue. This is ridiculous. If she's not gone with Bob Iger in 2026, I don't know what's going on. They need someone new. They need to get some new management in there, because it's been detrimental to the Star Wars brand. It's been absolutely detrimental. So we'll see what happens. Collective Movie Man says, make sure to check out my group chat for my birthday stream. Yep, I will definitely check that out, man. Thank you again for including me in that. Have you seen that with T? I can't believe Sony's finally given up. Yeah, man, we're talking about it on Members Talk Live, because the minute that this news hit my phone and I read it, I thought of you immediately. I was like, oh, somewhere T is popping champagne bottles and he is happy. So yeah, I'm getting your thoughts on this. We're discussing this. We're talking about this on Members on Saturday. I can't believe Sony's finally given up. I really love all the villain films. They are my absolute favorite, especially Morbius. I know, man. I know how much you love them films. I'm so sorry for your loss. Jace the Dawn. Not sure if it'll ever happen, but a Spider-Man and Deadpool project would be cool. Not gonna lie. Yeah, that would be cool. And they've teamed up a lot in the comics. I've read like 1 or 2 comics that they've teamed up on. The issue with that would be, how would you do that because Tom Holland's Peter Parker, even though he's now entering the college age, he's seen as this innocent character. And you don't put that character in an R-rated Deadpool film. I don't think you do that, especially with the Spider-Man brand. That is a kid's family of all ages can watch those kind of movies. That is that brand. I don't think you can throw that character, thrust him into an R-rated film with Deadpool. Likewise, do people want to see a PG-13 Deadpool interacting with Spider-Man? How would you go about that? I think that would be a trickier code to crack than some would think. I'd be up for it, though. Spider-Man and Deadpool project, I would be up for it. Just don't know how exactly you would do that to appease both the fans as well as keep the integrity of the character. So, could be interesting. Dakota Man Movies says, anything that stood out to you about the Golden Globes announcements? I haven't paid attention to the Golden Globes announcements. I don't really care about the Golden Globes announcements. Is The Substance a comedy or a musical this year? I don't know. I haven't even seen the Substance, but I know that it's not a comedy or a musical. Is the Golden Globes, is that the place that nominated Gladiator 2 for Best Picture over Dune Part 2, or was that something else? Because I read that this week, and that's ridiculous. But yeah, no, I haven't really looked at the Golden Globes announcements, to be honest. I haven't really been paying much attention to that. Laser, Jabba the Hutt's son has been cast. WTF kind of reality is this? Oh, dude, don't even get me started on this. I was so I was mad. I was legit mad when it was like Jeremy Allen White has been cast in Mandalorian and Grogu. Jeremy Allen White cast. That's awesome. He's gonna be Star Wars. He's a Jedi. Is he gonna be a smuggler? Is he gonna be like a Mandalorian himself? Like, wow, this is a fantastic actor. I've loved him in The Bear. I love him in Iron Claw. Oh my goodness, like Jeremy Allen White is in Star Wars. Like, this is Jabba the Hutt's son. You mean that stinky guy from the Clone Wars movie, the little baby Hutt that they I haven't seen that movie in years. I haven't seen that movie in years. I what? This news is so confounding to me. You get a talent. You get a talent like Jeremy. Is that his name, Jeremy Allen White? I feel like I'm butchering his name, but the guy from The Bear. You get a talent like him from The Bear, from Iron Claw, to come in, Uchi Bachi Googie Boochi. Like, waste. What a waste. What a wasted role for this guy. He could have been so many other great things in this universe. And he's a Hutt. He's the baby of Jabba the Hutt. First of all, Jabba the Hutt had kids. I don't want to picture that. I know that that's canon from the Clone Wars movie, but still, Jabba the Hutt's kid, and he's like, either he's going to come in and do that, or they're going to have this Jabba the Hutt's kid speak English. I don't want that. I don't want the Hutt to speak English. Like, I'm accustomed. I like in Star Wars when the Hutts speak like Ubi Guppy Gucci Buku. That's my favorite. That's how they speak. I like the alien language in Star Wars. That is one thing I feel like Star Wars in this new dawn of Disney has been doing that I don't like as much, is they've really taken away the alien language for a lot of these characters. Like, yes, some character, like background characters, some extra aliens will still speak in the alien language, but when you get like a main prominent character in here who's an alien, they always have to speak English. There's no more subtitles, there's no more alien language and noises. They always just speak English. So either you're going to get Jeremy Allen White, a fantastic actor, to come in there and go, or you're going to make this Hutt speak English. And I don't like either of those options. If you hire someone off the street for $5 and a Boston pizza, and get him in the studio booth going, get me in there. You don't hire a talent like Jeremy Allen White. I was dumbfounded by this. I was dumbfounded that they got that guy to do Baby Hutt. I maybe it'll be great. Maybe this will be Jeremy Allen White's chance to win an Oscar or Golden Globe or something. But to me, it's like, what are you doing? What are you doing, wasting this guy? Yeah, we'll see how it goes. Not a fan. The Jace the Dawn says, what was the movie this year that shocked you in a good way? For me, it's Wicked. Had no idea I was going to enjoy as much as I did. I'm on the same page as you, my friend. I was blown away by Wicked. Absolutely blown away by it. I didn't really have much anticipation for it. I saw the trailers in theaters for a number of months. Such long trailers. Didn't really pique my interest all that much. My wife was super excited though. My wife wanted to go see it. That's why I ended up going to see it ultimately. And I loved it. I loved Wicked. I cannot wait for Wicked Part 2. That has jumped so much higher onto my most anticipated list than it ever would have a month ago. So yeah, Wicked's definitely up there. Another one that's up there for me is Abigail. I loved Abigail. Didn't really know what Abigail was. Didn't really have much anticipation for Abigail. Went in, watched it. Freaking loved it. It's one of my favorite movies to play at Halloween time from here on out. I loved Abigail. And it was kind of underrated this year. Collect Movie Man's back saying one more thing. I wanted to tell you, did you hear about the TV show that George Lucas was going to make before he sold the rights to Disney? It was called Underworld, the Star Wars Project. No, I have not. I did not look into that. Sounds interesting, though, but it's from George Lucas, so who knows how it would have turned out ultimately. The could have been movies. I mean, you're going to see Deadpool and Spider-Man in Avengers. Let's hope they interact. I mean, we assume we're going to see Deadpool and Spider-Man in the Avengers. If Deadpool does pop up in the Avengers with Spider-Man, 100% they're going to interact. 100% they're going to do that. But Deadpool, that's still something you got to figure out how he's going to play with others in the MCU. How do you have in Avengers Doomsday the threat of Victor Von Doom, Robert Downey Jr., all the emotion, all of the gravitas that comes with that. And then you got Deadpool over here on the side. Is he Iron Man or Doctor Doom? I don't know. These timelines are so confusing, or something like that. Like how are you going to play that character in moments like that? I think that's something that Marvel is going to have to figure out, especially if they're going to be putting Deadpool into these Avengers films. But they can make it work. I believe in them. The laser says Jabba the Hutt is a fat looking turd. Yeah, let's just roast Jabba the Hutt. What a fat looking turd. Fat looking turd. That made me laugh. Jace the Dawn says Iron Claw is such a good movie. As a wrestling fan, I knew of the Von Erich brothers, but not fully. Yeah, I'm not a wrestling fan. I don't know anything about wrestling. I've never really watched wrestling. So I knew nothing really about that movie going into it, besides the fact that my boy Zac Efron was in it, and I've been a Zac Efron fan since High School Musical, so I was going to support him, and I love when he does dramatic roles. So I was really hoping for that, and I got that in this movie, and so much more because the movie itself was so good and so heartbreaking. It was snubbed last year at the Oscars. They should have gotten more. The laser, Narnia will be about rock and roll. I want to blow my I mean, maybe it can be good. Yeah. I don't want to judge it too harshly off of a comment like it's going to be rock and roll. What does that even mean? It's going to be awesome. It's going to be hard cutting. It's going to be edgy. I don't know what that means. As someone who is a follower of Jesus Christ, who is a Christian, who the Narnia books are written by a Christian, C.S. Lewis, to tell the story of Christianity and faith based ideas and Jesus and all that stuff through the narrative of Narnia. A new take that's rock and roll to me sounds like they've lost the plot in some ways. Like, I don't know. I don't know Greta Gerwig. I don't know her background. I don't know her experience with Narnia. I don't know if she's a big fan of the Narnia books. I don't know if she's a fan of C.S. Lewis. I don't know what she believes. I don't know anything like that. But in Christian circles, Narnia is a pretty upheld, respected narrative fiction for, especially, as you grow into like your preteen years, and even when you're younger than that. Narnia is kind of, I don't know. I don't know a single other Christian really who doesn't really have an experience with Narnia. And Narnia is something that, I don't know, for me personally, you want to keep that intact. You want to be faithful to the adaptation of these books. And so Greta Gerwig coming in there, coming off of Barbie, where she took a doll and used it for commentary on feminism and all that kind of stuff, which worked well with Barbie. Big smash hit. I can see why they'd want to get a talent like her for this movie. I just worry. I worry about them getting it. If this is their comments, it'll be rock and roll and all that stuff. Because Narnia has always kind of been the lesser brother of Lord of the Rings in some ways. Like Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, they were pals, they were buddies. They both have fantasy worlds that have Christian themes and ideas in them, and allegories in them. And Lord of the Rings is vastly more popular than Narnia is, even though they both play in that kind of fantasy realm. So I hold judgment on these comments alone before I see Narnia, but I don't get them. I don't really get these comments. I don't really get what Greta Gerwig's going for when she says these comments. If I can't remember if it was her who said these comments exactly, but yeah, I just want a good Narnia. I just want a good Narnia project and a good Narnia movie and a series or whatever it's going to be. So we'll see. We'll see how it turns out. But I hope they stay faithful to this adaptation. That's all I can say. Dakota Man Movie says thoughts on Hans Zimmer being disqualified from the Oscars for Dune 2. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Yeah, I don't like it. The rules of the Oscars, though, like especially like these past couple of years, they've been changing so much, and there's a lot of guidelines and a playbook that they have to follow even to get their nomination nowadays in the Oscars that it's ridiculous. And I guess it's like because Hans Zimmer used 50 or 60%, whatever percentage it was, of the score from the first Dune, which was out in 2021. I guess that makes it a disqualification because a lot of the music came from a movie in 2021. I don't get it. I really don't get the Academy rules with that. I don't know if that's ever been a thing. I don't feel like that's ever been a thing. It's unfortunate because I do think Hans Zimmer would have gotten nominated if that wasn't in place. It sucks. It just sucks. But the Academy nowadays kind of sucks. The Academy nowadays just kind of, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing over there sometimes. The Laser. I had flashbacks of the gum out of your hair joke. Good times. Oh, goodness. Yes, I remember that as well. Jason Don. As much as the multiverse saga has been a mixed bag, I'm not going to lie, I'm ready for the next saga so they can focus on the mutants and the supernatural sides of Marvel. Yeah, I think we're all kind of getting there, man. I think I've enjoyed the multiverse saga. I definitely have. I mean, when you look at projects like No Way Home, Deadpool and Wolverine, I even like Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness personally. Shang-Chi kind of plays with multiverse a little bit in there. Like, they've had some really great projects throughout the multiverse saga. Movies like the Marvels and how that integrated with the multiverse, that didn't really work. That was pretty clumsy and lazy and fumbled. And the overall narrative they're trying to build, like Kang kind of went out, and Loki's another one too. I really enjoyed the Loki series that they did with multiverse and variants and all that stuff. But, then Kang, for reasons inside and reasons outside the movies, didn't really go anywhere, didn't really work out and pan out. There's been a lot of fumbles. There's been a lot of inconsistency. It hasn't been the flow, smooth, and ride that a lot of phase 1, 2, and 3 has been. But I would lie if I said that when the mutants and the supernatural sides of Marvel come in, that I would want to see the multiverse completely go away. I don't want it to be the focus anymore, but I like that it's allowed us to get like Andrew Garfield, Tom Maguire back, and Hugh Jackman, and all that kind of stuff. Like, that's been a lot of fun, and it's tickled my nostalgic fan bone, so I'm super excited to get to mutants. I'm looking forward to getting to Fantastic Four and just new projects, new characters, and a new storyline. But I haven't hated the multiverse saga. I agree with you. It's been a mixed bag, but I haven't hated it. But I am looking forward to leaving it. I am looking forward to going on to mutants and all that stuff, and hopefully on to better days. The Laser says the Chronicles of Rock and Roll got a title. Oh, goodness. Yes, perfect. I hope they go with that, man. I hope they go with that. Jace the Dawn, are you excited for the Game Awards? I'm hearing some exciting things to be announced. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't play video games. I don't have the time. I don't have the patience. And especially if I want to watch movies, watch shows, spend time with my family, do YouTube, make YouTube videos, I cannot squeeze in video games. So video games are my blind spot. I don't know anything that's out right now. I don't know anything that is popular. I think a new Indiana Jones game's coming out. That's what I've heard. So that's like the only thing I know. But other than that, yeah, not really a gamer over here, unfortunately. The Laser says, I'm gonna head out now. What an awesome stream. Got a pajama party on Saturday, going out to dinner with my dad, and got 2 videos in the works, so it's going to be fun. Well, that's awesome, man. Enjoy all of that. Hope you have a great time. And thank you so much, Laser, again, for being here, joining the stream, and having fun with us. The show is made better because you were a part of it, my friend, and I appreciate you. You have a good night. And it looks like we have our last one with the Ace Avenue saying, have a great night, Zach, and chat. Well, you too, man. Thank you so much for being here and being a beloved channel member. Hopefully I'll see you Saturday. The show is made better because you are a part of it, my friend, and I appreciate you. All right, guys. Looks like that's the end of the comments and questions. I appreciate all you guys being here for the show, talking about all this fun stuff with me. Don't forget, guys, that this is not the only show we do live on the channel. We've also got Members Talk Live on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. If you want to join us on the show, you can jump down below, become a member, $6.99 Canadian dollars a month to appear on the show and chat with us. We will see you guys then. As it is right now, my name's Zach. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.